GCN Radio Network, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN, great talk radio starts here.
There is nothing that is wrong in wanting you to stay here.
Okay, Robert, you had a member of our new secret police, the new million person, until U.S. senators announced in the New York Times it's going to be 7 million. Domestic spies, but they're going to be paid by the government. That's the new government welfare program. They take from the working middle class and they give it to people that can't get jobs or don't want to work. And then they come out and command and rule us. Maybe they can have little whipping sticks, little cattle prods, and, you know, we can start making bricks for them or something and build pyramids for the bureaucrats, and we'll build giant sphinx heads of the presidents. But so what did you say to the creature that was GPSing your home?
Well, she took me completely by surprise because I turned around and she just like appeared like a little vampire or a little sneaky little, creepy person just creeped up there. And so I was like, well, what are you doing? Because she didn't knock on the door at all. That's what kind of creeped me out. She didn't knock on the door. She didn't talk to anybody.
Got to be clear. They go, though, to the doorstep because they want your doorstep. Where to send the SWAT team? That is for federal. This is admitted. Listen, folks, guess what zip codes are? Zip codes are artillery coordinates, and folks are going, well, how with 5 numbers do you do artillery? No, the dash on the next number was before GPS. They can bring down on your house artillery or bombs with that. That is a Pentagon grid. Now, with the GPS developed by the military that was originally for smart bombs and cruise missiles, they admit this is for gun confiscation and control, and the feds are going to every doorstep in America, but they also have separately the Acorn people out identifying it, and they admit this. Are you an Obama supporter or are you not an Obama supporter? They want to know, and so they can send those federal SWAT teams right to your door. Isn't that land of the free, home of the brave, baby? Just like we told you about the federal reports, and we broke the MIAC and the Homeland Security reports telling you the veterans of the terrorists and the gun owners of the terrorists and the families and the Americans and the Christians of the terrorists. And because we're the people that don't want communism in America, but it's not the communism that we were taught about. It's big, fat, degenerate offshore banks saying, this is commie land. We're going to turn a bunch of lazy parasites loose on you. They're going to steal all the money. We're going to give them a little bit because they like shiny uniforms, and the offshore banks are going to take it. How's that sound? Anyway, so you find this little vampire at your doorstep. And by the way, they're crossing people's fences. They're coming across no trespassing signs. This is all over the news coming to your doorstep because they want to know where to send those federal SWAT teams, baby. Now, tell me.
Oh, you're going to love this. Well, I asked her, and she said, well, I'm with the census. And I said, well, what are you doing there on my doorstep? And she said, well, we count people. And I just didn't know how to respond to that. I mean, it's like just so condescending. Oh, we count people.
So did you ask the worm? Did you ask the worm why they were there with GPS?
Yeah, she would say. Well, she admitted that it was a GPS thing, and then she took off. And my girlfriend was inside the house, but I got her so she could see her walking off. And she had a little camouflage hat on, and she went to the neighbor's house, stood on their porch, didn't knock on their door. She didn't talk to anybody. No, they're coming
to find where to send the SWAT team.
Yeah, exactly.
We need video of this. It's in the news. They're doing it. They're coming across people's land, you name it. Remember in 2000, the cases where they would break down doors? I'm not, in fact, Google it right now. Census taker forces way into home. Google it. You think I'm joking? I don't joke about nothing, folks. It's all documented. Now, listen.
Well, Alex, I don't understand. I don't understand what your deal is. I'm kind of looking forward to building owl temples for these guys, You're
kind of looking forward to taking that vaccine that sterilizes you? Then you're... Never mind, I'm not going to say it. They got shots, folks, that basically terminate any usefulness for your huevos. Just take your vaccine, ladies and gentlemen.
Adios, mofo.
You guys are in there playing some funny clips today. Okay, you know what? I joke about this, but I'm not joking. I joke around, but this is a serious issue. Now, let me tell you, I'm not saying all census takers are bad or evil. They're folks wanting $10 an hour. But I remember in 2000, I was covering it on the air at the time, and 1 out of 6 households got this longer form that had 49 questions. And then I think it was 1 out of 15, I don't remember the exact, got this American Community Survey that was a couple hundred long, and people were getting business surveys. They were asking, how many guns do you have? What are your stocks and bonds? List them. Do you have a low flush toilet? How long have you lived here? Who is your next of kin? And I explained to people that the U.S. Code, and I had retired judges on and read the U.S. Code, all they can ask you is how many people live here. That's it. Not their blood type, not who their mommy was, not if they like to drink 2% or whole milk. You can't ask them if their hair is dyed. You can't ask them, if they use conditioner when they wash their hair. You can't ask them if they clean their toenails. You can't ask them their sexual preference. You can't ask them if they like Schlitz malt liquor or Budweiser. You can't ask them if you like the Cowboys or the Redskins. You can't ask them nothing, you little secret police freaks. Now, all of that said, I'm getting tired of tyranny, folks. I'm fired up today. This is what happens when I stop not exercising and start exercising. The old, hard Alex of 10, 12 years ago comes back. The really obnoxious one. Anyways, testosterone's what it's called, folks. It's going to make all my hair fall out, though, if I keep working out like this. Anyways, side issue. Working out with heavy weights boosts your testosterone, folks. I'm fired up here. All right, let me go, plus all this coffee I've been drinking. But listen, let's just go back here. Doesn't it fire you up? To know that under the census law, they can only ask how many people live here, and that goes back to Mount Sinai and Moses numbering the people of Israel to break them into tribes. What you're dealing with here is they said, we're going to have a Congress, and each state will get 2 senators, but so that states with bigger populations don't get full control, we'll have senators. But at the same time, so bigger states do get a little bit more representation, in the House, it'll be apportioned by the number of people by the census, how many representatives you get. And under U.S. law, they can only ask how many people live here. That's it. So when you get the form, the longer ones that we got in 2000, and now it's time for the census again, it's totally illegal. It's all color of law. It's a trick. Just like there's no law you got to take vaccines. It's a regulation to attend school, but it's not a law. It's their policy, but they have to give you a waiver for the policy under state law. Well, it's the same thing. You'll see the big form with 49 questions, 100 questions, 200 questions. It depends. They send out different ones, and it'll say, up in the corner, it'll have 2 or 3 questions, and it'll say under that, you have to do this by penalty of law. And then there's a tiny dotted line beneath it with all the other questions that under law you don't have to answer. But they don't explain that to you. You see how that scam works? It's a contract fraud. Stinking, dirty, lying government lawyers think up all this stuff to trick you, and they sit around laughing. The slaves will never know. They'll tell us how much money they've got in the bank. Do they own firearms? And then I remember there was a big stink in 2000 about this, and I got bang, bang, bang. And my girlfriend, now my wife, they answered the door when I was gone one day, and this punk at the door threatened her and said, you didn't fill out your census. You only said 2 people live here. You got to answer all the questions. And she slammed the door. Well, he was back. And so I get a video camera, and I go to the door. This tape's somewhere. And I say, what do you want? He goes, he was an arrogant on a power trip. I walked outside and followed him. He was parked in the middle of the street, just totally out of his mind on a power trip. That's how it is. These dumbed-down fluoride heads, they got 75 IQs, but they're on a power trip with a little plastic badge now. And he says, you got to fill this out under law. And I said, go call the police then, punk. Get off my doorstep now. And he said, you're going to be arrested. I said, good. I'm going to sue you after I'm done. Get out of here. And I followed him out to the curb because I'm somebody who's not a slave. I went and checked the U.S. Code. I know it's a lie. Now, that idiot probably believes it's actually the law. Did you guys find where census takers force ways into homes? You didn't find it. Still looking? No, it was all over the news. Of course, that was 9 years ago, maybe off the web by now. Everybody remembers it. The point is, there were cases where they got on such power trips, they would force their way, bust down doors, they'd get arrested. One census taker got killed by dogs. Anyway, side issue. The point is, then they announced 2004, I remember seeing in the news, now we're going to have yearly and monthly censuses. Now, wait a minute. You have a Fifth Amendment. They can catch an axe murderer with 15 chopped up men, women, and children in a basement, and they can't compel the axe murderer to incriminate themselves. Fifth Amendment. You have a right to remain silent. Why, then, do they tell you under penalty of law you've got to answer these questions about do you own guns, do you have a low-flush toilet, what are your stocks and bonds? Those are real questions. You see, this is how these scumbag work. Now, they're going around GPSing everybody's front door for the federal police. You saw the gun confiscation in New Orleans and now in Illinois. So this has got me fired up, and I'm sorry I kind of went over the deep end there, but I mean, I am sick and tired of it. And then now we've confirmed the Acorn people and others are running around with GPSs. Also marking, and of course they admitted this about a month ago. They said, there'll be upwards of 1 million Obama volunteers knocking on your door to see if you support his agenda. And then I saw in their own blurbs, they've been given GPSs for files on top of it to nexus in with your name off the federal census. So both the feds and this auxiliary goon force, you know when you see these USAservice.org and all these groups, that's private groups of the Democratic Party and George Soros with Obama's face on it with the presidential seal, building up a literal Hitler-Jugend, right, a Maoist system here in America. When we come back, your calls and then the gun grabber treaty. I'm fired up. Stay with us, baby.